So I know cultures of excellence is something that, is part of your hallmark. And you were probably a part of one of the greatest dynasties and
Yeah.
cultures of all time
Hmm.
with the Cowboys during that era of Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
How did that he go about creating that culture, or the organization create that
Yeah.
culture of excellence?
Well, Jimmy, one was he came from a winning program at the University of Miami. So and at Oklahoma State, he'd always been a winner everywhere he went. And again, he set up processes along the way and brought in great coaches to help coach along with him. I'm talking the Butch Davises, the Dave Campos, the Wanstedts of the world. A lot of those guys went on to be head coaches. But what Jimmy did every day was he ran a program that was based on discipline and based on accountability. And that process was led to myself coming in from a college that we went 6-5 every year at Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have a winning mentality. When I walked in the door, the Dallas Cowboys, the year before they had went 11-5, went into the playoffs, lost to the Detroit Lions in the second round of the playoffs. So when I came in the building, they were expected to go a little bit further. They were going to take the next step. And that next step is the NFC Championship, hopefully the Super Bowl. And the mentality and the culture within that organization was you do your job. And it was kind of a selfish mentality because it started with Jimmy was a believer in you take care of yourself and then you can take care of other people. But if you don't show up on time, if you're not disciplined, if you're not doing the right thing, then you can't add this to what we're trying to build over here. And it was a tough way of going about practices every day. We battled that practice. There were a lot of fights, a lot of arguments, but the competition was what really brought us together as a team. And we had leaders like Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and not only those guys, but the Ken Nortons of the world and the Tony Topper, so many players, the guys who had been in the league 5 or 6 years, who were the superstars. They worked harder than anyone. And I saw that early on. I set the tone. So, a guy like Daryl Johnston, who I admire so much, because Daryl Johnston and Tony Tober taught me how to be a professional. They did all the little things, not only on the field, but off the field that really showcased who they were. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to follow that lead. And that's the reason why my career ended up blossoming in the end. But Jimmy put together a ton of talent, but he knew how to control that talent and motivate the talent at the same time. So we ended up winning back-to-back championships. Wish he would have stayed longer for obvious reasons. But I firmly believe if Jimmy Johnson would have stayed there, we would have won at least 4 or 5 championships.